Hello there everyone, my name is Busy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at another KTANE modded module. Today we're going to be taking a look at a relatively simple and beautifully designed module, in my opinion, of ternary tiles. So, as the name suggests, this module is going to be revolving around base 3, but it's not the way that you'll think it will be. It's actually a lot simpler than that. So, what we're going to do is, based off of a lot of edgework conditions, we're going to determine different base values based off of a series of conditions, and we're going to modify the base values based off of this indicator below. And as you can see on this little grid here of a 3x4, this is each of these numbers will have 0 on them. You can interact with them to go to 1 and 2, and then back down to 0. And then once all is said and done, we're going to press this big submit button right over here. So let's actually note out our entire edgework here, because all of this is going to be relevant in the later future. The only thing that is actually not relevant is the batteries, so we can actually simply ignore the batteries. So we have lit NSA, we have a plate parallel, and a lit TRN, and a lit IND. The serial number of Foxtrot Charlie 7, November Pop 5. So let's take a look here, and what we're going to go through is each of these conditions, and if it is true, we're going to press that button and make sure that it is labeled 1. So for example, if this first rule is true, we'll press Charlie 3 being normal, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie are the columns, rows 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to press Charlie, if we would press Charlie 3 if that was true. So it is also important to note that a lot of these conditions, this first half of the conditions, revolve around modded ports. In this case, the first one listed on each one is a vanilla base game port, and the second one is a modded port. It's one that I don't use hardly at all, because there are a couple manuals that do use it, and that can make the work a little bit harder to do. But otherwise, most of the game does not use modded ports. So what I'm simply going to be focusing on is these first ports to determine if these rules is true or not, because I don't use AC, USB, component, or composite video, or the HDMI, or the PCMCIA port. So let's go through these conditions. So we have the bomb has a serial port. It does not. The bomb is a parallel port. It does actually. So we're going to be pressing the button of Bravo 2. The bomb has either an RJ or RJ45 or component video port. It does not. The bomb has a DVID port. Nope. It actually does not have any other ports besides the parallel. So let's go on down to this next rule. The last digit of the bomb serial number is odd. In this case, that is actually true, because 5 is an odd digit, so we're going to be pressing Bravo 1. The first digit of the bomb serial number is even. It is not even in this case, because 7 is odd. So the next rule, the bomb's serial number contains any letter from tiles. So if there's a Tango, India, Lima, Echo, Sierra in there, that rule will simply apply. We have Foxtrot, Charlie, November, Papa, Lima, so that rule does not apply in this case. If there are more lit than unlit indicators on the bomb, that is true. So we're going to press Charlie 2. The bomb has a lit indicator labeled blank SA. Now, what exactly does this underscore mean? Well, this asterisk gives us a hint, and an underscore denotes any letter. So, so if you're not doing modded widgets, which I don't think many people actually do, this blank SA will only mean 2 indicators, and that is a Mike Sierra Alpha and a November Sierra Alpha. And this is referring to a lit indicator. Make sure you pay attention to that. And in this case, we actually do have a lit November Sierra Alpha, so that rule is true. So we're going to press Charlie 4. Apologies. And finally, our last rule, if the bomb has an unlit indicator labeled C blank R. So the only 2 for that would be car and Charlie Lima Romeo. In this case, we actually don't have any unlit indicators, and we don't have any of those types, so that obviously that rule doesn't apply. So now that we've gone through all these rules, we've highlighted, we've put these conditions, we've pressed the buttons and made them 1 for the ones that apply. And so now we're going to go over to the modifying the base values. And a lot of this can actually be done on the diffuser side, because the rules themselves are pretty simple. So for each of the 12 characters on the grid, we're going to be looking at these different rules here. And a lot of these rules will be simply adding 1 to each specific element based off of these conditions. If it is a letter, we're going to add 1 to that column in the grid. If it is a number, we're going to add 1 to each row of that grid. And if it is a plus, add 1 to every single element in that grid. So let's go through each of these little rules here. So first one is a plus. So as we said, we're going to add 1 to every element in the grid. Now, if you were to give this to the expert, what we must do is we must ensure that the element is within the range of 0 to 2. And if there aren't any, subtract 3 until, and if any of them aren't, subtract 3 from them until they are between 0 and 2, and then submit that pattern. But thanks to being able to do this on the diffuser side, if we simply go over 2, that doesn't affect anything. So let's do what each of these 12 instructions want us to do. So the plus sign wants us to add 1 to every element in the grid. Next up is Charlie. Charlie is a letter, so we're going to add 1 to each element that is in that column of the grid. So Charlie is going to be this column right here. And it gives us another Charlie again, so we're going to do that again. Next up is 3. It is a number, so we're going to add 1 to each element of that row in the grid. So we're going to add 1 to row 3. Next up is alpha. Next up is a 1, so we're going to add 1 to each in row 1. Row 4, column Charlie, column alpha, row 4, and then row Bravo and row alpha. And once all these instructions are taken care of, we're going to press submit, and the module solves. As one of the cooler solve sound in my opinion. I like that a lot. Let's take a look at another example. This module itself is pretty easy. It's just a series of conditions, and then just the expert side of things, understanding how the letters work, the numbers work, and how the plus works, because the plus can be a bit tricky if you're not careful enough. So let's take a look at our edge work again. I'm going to do 2 more examples of these just to give you a feel for how the numbers work, but I'm going to go by a little bit faster this time. So we do have a parallel port, we have a RCA port, and a PS2. And that's it for ports. TRN is not relevant. Lit NSA, that is true. We have an equal number of lit and unlit, and serial number rules. Last digit is not odd, first digit is not even. So, and any word from tiles, yes, we have an echo. All right, so now we're going to press each of these buttons here. So we're going to press Bravo 2, Alpha 3, Charlie 1, Alpha 1, and Charlie 4. So now that those are all set up, let's follow the instructions here. So we have Alpha, 2, 2, 4, 1, 3, 3, 2. After that 2 is Alpha, Alpha, Bravo 2. Alpha, Alpha, Bravo, and 2. And we'll hit submit. And just like that is a module solved. Let's take a look at one final example. Like I said, it becomes really simple and easy to understand. And oh boy, that's a lot of pluses. Okay. So let's go through these conditions. Port-wise, we have PS2 and RCA. Unlit CLR. Yes, we actually do have an unlit labeled CLR, so we're going to press that one as well. As for serial number, any tiles? No. Last digit is odd, but the first is not even. So that should be it. And there's not more lit than unlit, so that's good. And let's say if I just happen to hit submit randomly out of sheer curiosity. The indicator at the bottom does not change, and it will not it won't affect anything. So if you strike it all, that's why. That's what happens. Let's press Charlie 1, Bravo 1, Alpha 2, and Alpha 3. And let's go through these last base values together. So row 4, column Bravo, 2 pluses, row 3, column Charlie, row 4, row 3, row 4, column Alpha, row 4, and row 2. And that should be it. And just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.